In my life, I have watched and participated in dozens of children's Christmas pageants. Sometimes put on just by children, sometimes by a combination of children and adults. Some are good, some are not so good. I mean, for drama and special effects and hired actors, Willow Creek does an amazing job. They have live animals and real paid actors. But I'm telling you right now, if you want moonwalking camels and angels hanging from stepladders and baby dolls being swung by the arm during the blessing, you got to come to Trinity Lutheran Church for the Christmas pageant. This pageant here is full of all manner of hilarity. And it's okay, because the point of a pageant is not to be a Broadway show. The pageant is a fun way for children to get to participate in the Christmas story, and over years and years and years of doing the same old thing, they learn that Christmas story. We tend to overdo the importance of the pageantry. We tend to overdo pageantry in general. We have to always remind ourselves that the miracle is not in the pageantry. The miracle is the salvation which God gives to his people, and that his people come to him in praise and worship, thanking him for that salvation. This applies to worship in general, as well as children's programs. I mean, you might have noticed that worship around here is not always perfect. Occasionally, parts of the service are accidentally left out. Sometimes a wrong note might be played, not when Andrew's playing, but occasionally a wrong note might be played. Sometimes candles don't get lit or won't light. Sometimes we forget water in the baptismal font when we have a baptism. But the reason, you see, we have these mistakes is because we have normal human beings participating in worship around here. This is not meant to be a Broadway show. No one is a hired performer. Rather, we are all part of the family of God, gathered together, participating together, worshiping him together, praising him together. Whenever we include human beings in any process, it's going to be flawed. So today in our epistle lesson, we have what must be incontrovertible proof that St. Paul was German. I know you all think he was Jewish, but he's got to be German. I mean, if you read Matthew and you read John, unquestionably Jewish. These are guys who loved pageantry and they loved language. But it also is true that it takes them 3 paragraphs to describe which direction the wind is blowing. St. Paul, Germanically efficient. Look at the epistle for today. You have the entire Christmas story wrapped up in one sentence. He said, "But when the fullness of time had come, God sent forth his Son, born of a woman, born under the law, to redeem those who are under the law, so that we might have adoption as sons." I know, it would kind of make for a pretty short and boring children's Christmas program, wouldn't it? But all of the important stuff about Christmas is right there in that one sentence. When God determined the exact right moment had arrived, he sent the second person of the Holy Trinity, his Son. into the womb of Mary to take on human flesh. He did this because the Messiah had to be under the law in order to keep the law perfectly. By keeping the law perfectly, he was able to fulfill what had not been fulfilled since the fall into sin in the Garden of Eden. Jesus Christ, Jesus the Messiah, a fully human being, lived a perfect and holy life and was sacrificed on the cross for all other human beings. And because he was also fully God, his sacrifice was sufficient once and for all. That's it. The whole Christmas story in one sentence. Don't become distracted by your love of pageantry during Christmas. We can enjoy it, but don't lose sight of this truth. Without Good Friday, Christmas would be useless to us. All the cute little lambs and glorious angels would just be characters in a pageant. And a pageant is all it would be. The real pageantry happens 34 years later, when the very Son of God hangs from a cross, bleeding, dying, and damned. That is what we remember when we are watching Christmas programs, or when we are sitting together year-round here in worship. We're not here to relive the events of Christ's life. We are here to glorify God for what he has done for us through Christ. We eat and drink his body and blood to strengthen us, to forgive us. And we do this in remembrance of him. Not remembrance as in a fond memory of a happy time, but a remembrance as in remembering who we are and whose we are. We eat and drink the body and blood of Christ in remembrance of the family to which we belong, in remembrance of the promise that is yet to be fulfilled. He will return for us, and he will take us to the mansion that he has already prepared for us.